Now then, I've got a question for you now on the programme. Do you have any idea what a Scotch egg is? Now, I'm sure you've probably at least heard of shepherd's pie, and you must know your apple crumble. But perhaps if you know all three, you're British like me. And whilst British food may be laughed at by many, particularly here in France, the land of good food, we Brits do have a few good tricks up our sleeves, you know, and we can do the business for the taste buds every now and again. Now, if you try to prove that, well, my guest today, Oliver Woodhead, has set up a British restaurant right in the heart of Paris. So far, I'm told it's going very well. Welcome. You brought us some food.
I have.
What do we have here?
Well, we'll start with the shepherd's pie.
Yeah.
And the difference between a hachis parmentier and a shepherd's pie is Worcestershire sauce. So Liam Perrins. And we put quite a lot of it in. We also actually normally have a bottle. If customers would prefer a little bit extra punch, they can add their own. We also have I import two things to France: smoked salmon from Northern Ireland and cheese from all over the UK.
Right.
So we make everything in-house. Everything's homemade. So we have oat cakes.
Right.
We have some chutney, some quince jelly, and the cheeses which come from, of course, the UK.
I can smell it. Can I try a bit of this pie?
Absolutely.
Got to try a bit. Can't not try a bit, can I? Hopefully, I'll still be able to talk to you as I'm trying the pie as well.
The lamb is French, of course.
Oh, the lamb is French.
Yeah.
It's very good French lamb.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice. No, very, very good.
And we'll probably actually, by popular demand, keep on serving it throughout summer as well.
OK. Can we stop the interview and I can just eat the pie? Why a British restaurant in Paris, though? Why?
It's what I know. It's what I grew up with. I've been living in France for 21 years now, working in the industry for 15 of them. And after a while, being told British food, terrible, British food's bad, etc. But also having so many French friends in the UK and in London, knowing that it's not, I knew there was a market for it. There is a market for it.
And when people come, are they coming because it's British food, or are they just thinking, oh, that looks like a nice restaurant, let's go in and see what it's like?
There's a bit of everything, really. I'm always still surprised when British tourists are here in France and they make a beeline to me. I mean, I suppose we do use French produce. But no, I'm pleasantly surprised. The cheese is the thing I get the most amount of flack for.
Really?
And hopefully we do a good job there, and we quite a few converts.
I mean, to be honest, a good cheddar is gorgeous.
Well, so we started with cheddars from across the country, but actually it's much better. We just now take Paxton's cave-aged, so it's always the same. Then we have a Stilton, which is, again, always the same. It can come from 2 or 3 different places in the UK, Stilton. But then we have a third cheese, a guest cheese with every delivery. And this one's so good, we may actually keep it now for a little while longer. This is called Mayfield, and I had never heard of it, come across it before. It's the British equivalent of Edam, yet it's got a lot more, it's actually got more texture to it, more length. It's fantastic cheese.
And what about the whole restaurant scene in France generally? I mean, I was actually out in Paris yesterday walking around. I just happened to notice, I wasn't even thinking about the fact that I was going to talk to you today, but everywhere there are brasseries, aren't they, that sort of French style, but then they're all covered in American style logos for burgers and, you know, every different type of food you could possibly want from right around the world really is available in France. Maybe been Frenchified a little bit, but I mean, the range is incredible, isn't it?
It is, but we also have millions of tourists on average a week here, so the onus is on business these days. But also going back to that look of the brasseries, which Americanised, that was actually a Scot who took the idea, the French idea, to the Americans, and now now that version has come back to. That Americanised visual has come back to Paris now. It's gone full round. And yesterday, out of curiosity, were a lot of the restaurants closed?
Yeah, because it was May Day.
Yeah, OK.
Not all, but a lot.
Not all. We were open. We always will be. And it's not just the British food, it's also the British attitude to business. So just open all times. Tea time, late night, early, Sunday, Monday, month of August, we will always be open.
Yeah. And what about the sort of reaction from French traditionalists? Because, I mean, a lot of people say that actually this is Paris and you need to preserve the French identity, if you like. And so much of the French identity is about food, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I do that by using my suppliers, and we'll always stick to them. And they're French. They're the small guys, you know, le petit gars, and that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want the restaurant to become a cliché with fish and chips and importing baked beans and things like this.
Yeah. And do you think you managed to get that balance about right?
I like to think so, and so far so good.
I mean, it's not, and just going back to what we were talking about burgers. I mean, it's obviously what you brought in here. It's not a kind of cheap and cheerful restaurant, is it? I mean, if you go to the UK and you might see an awful lot of kind of burger places and as you say, fish and chips that particularly isn't that good quality. I mean, that's not what you're aiming at.
No, absolutely not. I try to keep it. There's a casual excellence to the restaurant. We keep our prices as low as we can. I'm after a certain volume, so yes, we have linen, yes, we have silverware, but it still remains very affordable, and unstuffy was the key. Yeah.
Unstuffy, but then at the same time, I mean, I was looking at the menu. You've got porridge soaked in Earl Grey tea, chutney and toast, and Jerusalem artichoke soup. I mean, it's a little bit stuffy, perhaps?
Well, it rotates with, every week different things come on. You also need to keep the kitchen and the chefs happy, and give them ingredients to play around with. No, it's upper to middle. It's still anyone can pop in any time. That's the whole point. 7 days a week. You don't need to ask yourself whether it's open or closed. You can just come on by.
And finally, what next? I mean, is this it for you now, or have you got all sorts of other plans buzzing through your head?
So a lot of people ask for Sunday roasts. Problem is on our weekend brunches, and you're doing le full entente, sort of a big, for all intents and purposes, a fry-up. That's 6 different elements on the same plate at the same time. That's a lot of logistics in the kitchen for a full restaurant. So we can't do a Sunday roast at the same time as a full entente. But there is huge demand for that, so who knows?
You'll see. Now, which cheese should I try? I'm going to have to try
I didn't bring a knife, I'm terribly sorry.
I can dip it in.
Mayfield, yeah.
I can use fingers. This is the one you were telling us about. Which is best?
Oh, probably the chutney.
Go for a bit of chutney. All right. That's very good.
Yeah.
Well, can we just scrap the rest of the programme, though? That's enough full of food. Yeah. Give us a plug, then. What's it called?
OK, well, the restaurant's called L'Entente.
L'Entente.
Le British Brasserie. And a few people have picked up on that. Brasserie is feminine. Well, I call that the touch Birkin, because we always have problems with masculine and feminine, don't we? This is our logo, which is traditional pie that we always have on. In the logo, of course, the blackbird.
Great.
4 and 20 blackbirds, yeah.
OK. Thank you very much for coming in and talking to us.
Thank you.
Oliver Woodhead, thanks a lot.